Don't underestimate this messenger conversation. Despite the casual conversational tone, the spelling mistakes, and the cyber slangs, a valid contract was formed.
First, both Sina and I clearly understood the intentions of each other and had the desire to enter into a consensual agreement. I am a prospective buyer looking to acquire the sweater that Sina advertised to sell. Second, Sina and I confirmed the product, which is a white sweater, at issue. An invitation to treat was then articulated by me through my offer to purchase and was met with Sina's acceptance in response. The price of the sweater was then discussed and agreed upon. The contract dictated that Sina was to sell his ex-girlfriend's sweater to me in exchange for an e-transfer of $150. This outlined the considerations of the exchange. Considering that the fact that I worked full-time as a professional, I have the capacity to contract and pay the $150 for the sweater. Finally, the delivery method and time for the sweater was also specified to bind our performances as buyers and sellers.
There are a few ways this exchange can play out.
In this case, the sales contract was breached. Sina did not fulfill the contract terms by failing to deliver the sweater. When considering damages, we first turn to the case Hawkins v. McGee.
Hawkins v. McGee tells us that the expectancy interest should be used for awarding damages, which seeks to put the plaintiff in as good a position as he would have occupied had the defendant performed his promise. As Lord Atkinson in Wertheim v. Chicoutimi confirms, this is the general intention of contract law. The expectancy interest is a principle that the law protects.
If this case was brought to court, Sina can be ordered to compensate me for the damages resulting from him not fulfilling his promise. The contract regards a second-hand sale where product substitution is unpredictable. Thus, this concerns the rule of supply and demand as set out in Victory Motors v. Beta. The case tells us that damages should be measured as the difference in value between what the contract promised for and what I received. What the contract promised was me paying $150 for a sweater worth $180 in market value. If I failed to receive the sweater after paying for it, my damages would be the difference in value, which is $30.
Under the same ratio in Hawkins and Victory Motors, the difference in value should be used to calculate the expectancy interest that I'm entitled to receive if Alice does not pay. In this case, the contract promised that I was to sell my sweater for $150, and I'd be entitled to the difference between $150 and the price at which I'm able to sell it to someone else. If I sold it for $120, then I'm entitled to $30 in damages.
But it is important to note that Sina also has a duty to mitigate under Asimir Oil v. Sea Oil. The case tells us that the plaintiff cannot just file a suit and sit around waiting for the market value to be awarded at trial, because that would place the risk of market fluctuations solely on the defendant, which is me. This means that he needs to have taken reasonable steps in finding another buyer after knowing that I have failed to follow through with the contract. Now, in the conversation, I've expressed that time is a concern for me, and I hope to get the sweater within 2 weeks. So, what if I paid and it's been 2.5 weeks, but I still haven't received the sweater? Would I have a right to damages, or what about a right to repudiation?
In this instance, the real issue lies in the assessment of the terms of the contract. However, Lucy's class is not far enough into the course for her to answer this question. What is it? She thinks that the damages for a delay in payment will be difficult to quantify, as there are no terms detailing an absolute delivery time.
Please don't penalize her for this, please.
As for the right to repudiation, the test is set out by Hong Kong v. Kawasaki. However, a right to repudiation really only applies to a party who has further undertakings still to perform. In our case, you don't have any further obligations. You wouldn't need to repudiate anyways. If in the event that you did have further obligations, the case Sail Labrador v. Challenge 1 tells us that the failure in performance must substantially deprive the other party what was bargained for in order for repudiation to be an option. The court must assess whether parties have expressively made time the essence of the contract. In our case, it was clear that the issue of time was considered, but neither party seemed to be too fixated on having an absolute delivery.
But by asking you how soon I can get it and telling you that I need it within 2 weeks, I made it clear that time was the key to this contract.
Well, that is for the court to decide.